Right. So the first question is to calculate correct to one decimal place the distance QR. All right. So, guys, before we do anything, we need to recognize a few things, right? The first thing is that this is a non-right angle triangle, which means that you cannot use the typical SOHCAHTOA. You can't use the regular trig ratios. However, you can use the sine or cosine rule. In this triangle, we are given two sides and the included angle, and we need to find the unknown side QR. Can anybody tell me which rule you would use, the cosine or the sine rule?
The cosine.
That's right. You'll use the cosine. Why?
Because you have two sides and an angle between the two sides.
That's right. So in order to use the cosine rule, you need to have, if you want to find a third side or the missing side, it must be two sides with the included angle, meaning the angle between the two given sides. All right. So let's label, I like to label these sides because it helps me to apply the formula better, right? So this is angle P. So the side opposite angle P will be side P, which is the side that we actually need to find. That's QR. The side opposite angle Q is side Q, and of course, you use the common letters. And the side opposite angle R is R. All right. And now we can go ahead and we use the cosine rule where P, the side P, will be the subject, right? So remember, P is the same side as QR, right? And that's what we're trying to find. So let's write the cosine rule. It's P squared would be equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Oh gosh, we can write QR. Q squared plus R squared minus 2 by QR by cos of the angle opposite the side that we want to find, which is cos of angle P. All right. And now we substitute our values in there. So P squared will be equal to Q squared, which is 150 squared, plus R squared, which is 120 squared, minus 2 by 150 by 120 by cos of 20. Oh, I almost ran out of space. 23. God, I write that so poorly, but it's just because I'm running out of space. Cos of 23. Cool? So you can, of course, type that whole line into your calculator. Type it in and see what you get, guys. I'm going to ask each of you. 150 squared plus 120 squared minus 2 times 150 times 120 by cos of angle 23. Fired, what you got?
I'm still doing it, Mrs.
Okay, love. Anybody typed it in correctly, completely as yet? The whole line, 150 squared plus 120 squared minus 2 times 150 times 120 by cos of 23.
I get 3,761.8.
Yeah, that's right. 3,761 points. Fine, because this is not the end of the answers yet, let's put about 4 places behind the decimal point. So that'll be 0.8252. Anybody else got that? Tristan, Zayden, Aaron, any of y'all got this number?
Yes, Miss, and I'll get it.
Okay, good. And then we have to find the square root of that. So the square root of 3761.8252. And what you do, leave the answer on your calculator and then just press square root equal and you'll get the answer, right? So I got, and we have to take this answer to one decimal place, right? So I got 661.3 km taken to one decimal place. Anybody got that? So the distance QR is,
Yes.
Excellent. 6.61, sorry, 0.3 km to 1 decimal, please. Tristan, did you get it? Is Tristan still here? Tristan told me to use the cosine rule just now, and now he disappeared.
No, miss, I hear, but I doing it on my phone and I don't know how to get square root on my phone.
Oh, I don't know. What
Yeah,
kind of phone do you have? Do you have an iPhone or a Samsung?
yeah, iPhone.
Okay, so you have to put your phone on the scientific calculator mode. You know how to do that?
Yeah.
Right. And then you see there's a key that has, it looks like this. It has two, like this. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that's the key. So if you press that, that will give you the square root.
Oh, okay, miss.
Yeah. Right. But did you get the 3761.8252?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. And now we need to find the area of the triangle PQR. Now, typically, to find the area of a triangle, you would have to do base times height divided by 2, right? But we don't have the base or the height in this triangle. So we have to use the formula, which is also given to you in your list of formulae. So you don't have to like worry about if you don't know it or not, right? Because it's there in your list of formulae. And the area of a triangle, when you do not have the base and the height is found by this formula. Half of AB multiplied by sine C, right? And here's what it is. AB, so if this is the triangle, right? Let's say C is this angle here. This is C. And let's say this is A and this is B, right? So this side will be A and this side will be B, sine of angle C, right? So in other words, it's half of the product of the two given sides multiplied by the sine of the included angle. So you can use this formula for this triangle because in this formula, in this triangle, in this case, it would be half of, well, R and Q, right? Because those are the two given sides, multiplied by sine of angle P, right? So the two, half of the product of the two given sides multiplied by the sine of the included angle. So half of R, which is 120, times Q, which is 150, multiplied by sine of angle C, well, sorry, angle P in this case, which is 23 degrees. So you just type that in directly in your calculator as well. Half multiplied by 120 times 150 times sine of 23. And somebody tell me what you get. Remember, you're running it off to 1 decimal place. Type it in exactly like this on your calculator. You could use half as 0.5 if you want. Okay, let me see. Aaron, you typed it in as yet? Where's Aaron? Oh, I feel something is wrong with his mic because I'm not seeing his mic here. Okay, fired, fired. Did you type it in as yet? Where's everyone? Boys? Fired, if you're talking, your mic is muted, so I'm not hearing you.
About
Yeah. Did you type in the half by 120 by 150 by sine of 23?
I'm almost done typing it out.
Okay. Zaydan, Zaydan, you're gone again. I heard you just now and then and now I'm not hearing you again. What's up? Where are you?
I check it out.
Just typing it.
Okay. Finally finish?
Yes,
What you got?
3,516.580156.
Take it to one decimal place.
Oh, well, then 0.6.
0.6. Correct. That's the answer. 3,516.6 km squared because it's area, right? So area has to be square units. If anybody else got this, your answer is correct. If you didn't, type it over again and see what you get. You can also do 120 times 150 times the sine of 23 and then divide the answer by 2. You'll still get the correct answer. 3,516.6. Right, so let's look at this question now. The diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows the positions of three ports P, Q, R. Q is 80 kilometers away from P. R is 100 kilometers away from Q on a bearing of 066, so 66 degrees, and angle PQR is 54 degrees. Calculate the bearing of P from Q. So we're gonna just skip the part on the bearing for now because I didn't teach you all bearings as yet. And we're gonna go straight on to part 2 and 3, right? So part 2, they want us to calculate the distance PR, right? So this is the side PR, the missing side, correct to two decimal places. So guys, let's look at the triangle. We need to find an unknown side, and we are given two sides and an angle. Which rule would you use? Sine or cosine to find the distance PR? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Close, right?
You use cosine. Why would you use cosine?
Well, there are two sides and an angle between them.
Yes. The cosine rule is used for two sides and the included angle, right? So if the angle was here instead, you couldn't use the cosine rule, right? Because the condition has to be, the condition, sorry, is that the angle has to be between the two sides. So yes, we can use the cosine rule. Let's label the sides just so that we make our correct substitutions. So this is side Q because it's opposite angle Q. This side here will be R because it's opposite angle R. And then this side is P because it's opposite angle P. And of course, we use the common letters to represent those sides. All right. Now let's recall our cosine rule. We need to find the side Q. So that needs to be the subject of the formula, right? So that would be Q squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So P squared plus R squared minus 2 times the product of P and R. Oh, I don't need to write it in brackets as yet. So 2PR by cos of Q. All right, and let's now substitute our values in there. So we don't know what Q squared is. We're trying to find that. P is 100, so that would be 100 squared. R is 80, so this is 80 squared. And then minus 2 times 100 by 80 by cos of angle Q, which is 54 degrees. Right, and as I said, you can type that whole line into your calculators. So 100 squared plus 80 squared minus 2 times 100 times 80 by cos of 54. So tell me what you get when you type all of that into your calculator, guys. Anyone tell me what it is? Take your time. 100 squared plus 80 squared minus 2 times 100 times 80 by cos of 54. Anybody got it as yet?
So one decimal place.
No, just give it to me with about 4 places behind it. Or even this one, give me 5 places behind it.
14,727.54459.
Huh, I got something else. Anybody else got something else? Check it again, Kyle. Tristan, what did you get? Tristan, are you there?
Um, I get 6,995.43596.
Yeah. What was the mistake you made?
I don't know, I just typed over.
So yeah, 6,995.43596.3 is what you will see on your calculator. Aaron, did you get that on your calculator?
Hold on,
So now you have to find the square root
hold
of that.
on. Yes, I get it. I get you.
Okay, good.
I
So now you
get.
have to find the square root of
Yes, I get
Miss,
it.
this
I get
mic
you.
song
Okay, good.
distorted. Perchance.
Sorry, Zaydan, what did you say? Sorry, Zaydan, what did you say?
This mic song distorted. Perchance.
It's not singing distorted, it's singing good, but when I just muted you because when I speak, it has like a little lag and I'm hearing myself repeating. I'm hearing myself again.
Be somebody not connected to the headset, however, and you're hearing it on them screen.
Yeah. Right, so the answer is 83 point. They said what did they say? Two decimal places or one? Two decimal places. So it'll be 83.64 p.m. Because the square root of that large number would be 83.64. So when you get that large number on your calculator, just press the square root and equal and you'll get the answer. There's no need to like write it back unless you want to, right? Unless your calculator is giving you an error or something. Now you can also, you don't have to work this whole line out one time, huh? You could like break it up. You could do 100 squared, 80 squared, 2 by 100 by 80. Like you could do it like that too. There's no need to try to like do it in one go, right? So yeah, this answer, and that's 3 marks, guys, is 83.64 km. And then the next question is to find angle QPR, which is, let me use a different color here. That is this angle, QPR, right? When you have angles listed like this with 3 points, the point in the middle, the letter in the middle is actually where that angle is, right? So this is actually angle P. We need to find angle QPR. Now, you can use either one of the rules to find angle P over here, right? You can use the cosine rule because you have 1, 2, and we just found this third side, or you can use the sine rule. I will use the sine rule, and the reason I will use the sine rule is that I can use the actual figures that they gave me in the question to use the sine rule to find angle P rather than using what I got as my answer in in this question above for the unknown side. Because if if by some reason, or for some reason, I miscalculated and I got the wrong answer for PR, and then I used that same wrong answer in the second part of the question, well, you might still get some marks because there's this thing called error carried forward. But just to be on the safe side and to get the most amount of marks, you should always use what they gave you, right? So I will actually use the sine rule in this case to find the angle PQR rather than using the cosine rule because the sine rule uses the values that they gave me, whereas the cosine rule, I would have to use one of them that I calculated. So let's just recall what the sine rule is. Now, I want to find angle P, so that means that P has to be involved in the ratio, right? So it'll be P of P over sine P is equal to, oh, you know what? I might actually have to use, I do actually have to use what we worked out in part two, meaning the side PR, because that's the side opposite the given angle. So you have no choice. So P over sine P is equal to Q over sine Q. All right. So that would be P, which is 100 over sine of P, which is what we're trying to find, is equal to Q, which is 83.64 over sine of Q, which is sine of 54 degrees. Okay, and now I cross multiply. So sine of P times that, which is 83.64 by sine of angle P, is equal to 100 sine of 54. Okay, so that means that sine of angle P is equal to 100 sine of 54 divided by 83.64. So sine of P is equal to, let's check that, 100 sine of 54 divided by 83.64 is 0.96726. So therefore, P, remember, whenever you find an angle, you use the inverse functions of the Trigs, right? So we sine inverse 0.96726. That is equal to 75.3. It's at two decimal places, so really 75.30. Oh, never mind. It says to the nearest degree. So to the nearest degree would just be 75 degrees. All right. Now, if you wanted to use the cosine rule instead, guys, the cosine rule, if you need to find angle P, let me just zoom out a little bit here. Let me show you guys how, whether you use the cosine rule or the sine rule, you'll still get the correct answer. Okay? So finding angle P means that P would be the subject of the formula. P squared is equal to Q squared plus R squared minus 2 by QR by cos of angle P. I need to make cos of angle P the subject of this whole formula, right? So I'm going to move minus 2QR cos P to the other side to make it positive, right? So 2QR cos of P is equal to Q squared plus R squared. And therefore, cos of P is equal to Q squared plus R squared. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to put minus P squared up here because I moved P squared from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So I'll have to minus it, right? So Q squared plus R squared minus P squared, all divided by 2QR. So let's substitute our values into the formula and see what we get. Cos of P is equal to Q squared. What's Q? Q is 83.64 plus R squared. R is 80 squared minus P squared, which is 100. all of that is over 2 times 83.64 times 80. Okay, so therefore, cos of P is equal to 83.64 squared plus 80 squared minus 100 squared divided by 2 times 83.64 times 80, which will be 0.2537. So then P is equal to the cos inverse of that. You don't need to write all these decimal places. I just wrote it because I don't know, I just felt like writing it. But you want to write at least 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them. So P is equal to cos inverse of that, which is 75.30 degrees, which is what we got up here. See? So it doesn't matter if you used the cosine rule or the sine rule, you're still gonna get the same answer once you do the correct working, right? Once you make the correct substitutions into the formula and you do the correct working.